Good morning, extended school year students. Today we are going to continue our talk about figurative language. We are going to talk about similes and metaphors. So yesterday we spent a good amount of time talking about similes and seeing examples of them in pop culture. We saw lots of examples in the slideshow we looked at through my video. And today we're going to add another layer to that. So another type of comparison is called a metaphor. So what is a metaphor? A metaphor is a figure of speech that says one thing is the same as something else. Versus a simile, which we know is a type of metaphor where two things are compared using the words like or as. If you'll remember from yesterday, I said that would be very important because that is the way that you distinguish or tell the difference between these two types of figurative language. So right here in red, it says, similes and metaphors are often confused, but there is a difference. A metaphor says that a person, place, or thing is the same as another person, place, or thing. A simile uses a comparison to show a similarity without saying the two things are the same. So in this example right here, the simile version is, she is as happy as a clam, versus the metaphor version, which is, she is a happy clam. She's not as happy as a clam. She is, in fact, that clam. You'll get used to this, and you'll get used to being able to tell the difference. It seems a little confusing, and especially when you start looking at it and seeing the word simile and the word metaphor over and over again. I know that makes my mind feel a little crazy sometimes, but it gets easier. It truly gets easier. So now, if you need to, pause this and go finish your simile work from yesterday, because I know you didn't have a lot of time at the end of 30 minutes. So if you need some time, please pause this and go finish that. But once you are finished with that sheet, let's look at the two sheets that are going to be assigned for today. The first sheet here, it says, what are metaphors? And please remember that, as always, you can hand this in to me in whatever way is easiest for you. If you need to take a picture from a separate sheet of paper, if you're using a hard copy, if you like doing it digital, I am very flexible and I will take it in whatever way is easiest for you. All right, let's read the direction. What are metaphors? Metaphors are used to compare two things that are different in most ways, but are the same in one important way. A metaphor states that one thing is something else. Unlike a simile, the words as and like are not included. So remember that. This is important. This is reminding you of the differences if you need that reminder. Examples. Jake is a wizard with computers. Because Jake is not a real wizard, he's just good with computers. The comparison between Jake and being a wizard is accurate, but we know that wizards don't exist, even though we'd really like them to. And I don't know about you guys, but I love me some Harry Potter. All right, second example. Lucy's room is a pigsty. The room is not an actual pigsty. It's just really messy. And I don't know, my mom used to say that to me a lot when I was a kid. All right, let's look at the example. Tell us what each metaphor means. So that is the directions for this sheet. You're going to say what it means. So Amy's tears were a river. So what that's saying is that Amy cried a lot. She was really just crying so much that it seemed like it could fill up a river. But we know that's not really true. So number 1 says, Dad is a bear in the morning. So we know Dad doesn't turn into a bear in the morning. That doesn't happen. It probably just means that he's cranky in the morning. So Dad is cranky in the morning. So that is how you do this assignment. Number 2, let's do one more. My brother is a night owl. So my brother doesn't turn into an owl at night, but he likes to stay up late. So really what that's saying is my brother stays up late. And that is how you do these. You do 3 through 15 on your own. If you need any help with the reading of the questions or you get stuck on any, you know you can ask me. But give them a try. I think you've got this. Finally, when you have finished the simile sheet and the metaphor sheet, the last step is to determine the difference between similes and metaphors. So this is just a labeling activity, really. And let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. There we go. The directions say, write S if the sentence is a simile, write M if it is a metaphor, and don't get tricked because it does say to write N if it is neither a simile nor a metaphor. So how are we going to determine the difference? What do we need to remember while we're deciding? Well, we need to remember that if it's a simile, here's a little code I'll put on the side, the words like or as will be used. That is what makes a simile a simile. If it is a metaphor, they will not be used, but just remember, because there are some that are neither, they might try to trick you. Don't assume it's a metaphor. Think about it. Make sure there's some kind of comparison there. All right, let's try a couple. Okay, let's try a couple together. Talia's eyes were as bright as the sun. Well, I see those keywords, as. And we put right here that if we see those words, it's a simile. So I'm pretty confident the number 1 is a simile. Number 2, Dad was like a big teddy bear. Well, again, I see a key word, like, which makes me feel pretty good that this is also a simile. Number 3, Sandy is a silly monster. I see the word is, and we're saying Sandy is something. We know that means metaphor, because Sandy isn't really a monster. She's probably just being really silly. A couple hints before you try this on your own. Remember, both similes and metaphors are used to compare two things that are not alike in most ways, but are similar in one important way. A simile uses the words as or like. A metaphor does not use these words. So hopefully those hints will help you and you'll be able to complete this sheet. It's just labeling, shouldn't take you too long. You have the rest of your block now to finish the worksheets. If you, like I said, if you need to finish up something from yesterday, you can finish up these two and get me your responses in whatever way works best for you. Hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.